My name is Rudi Cromwell. I'm up here in Ontario, Canada, and I am a entrepreneur who has multi passions in that field, as they say. And as Cindy knows, one of my first baby loves is my day job. I am a handy woman. So I do all sorts of jobs from tiling to flooring to painting for my customers. I'm a one woman show. I don't have a crew or a team. But I love being able to have my hands on the work. I'm very hands on. Um, but the joy really is seeing the transformation of the before and after, what you can do with just a few tools and a little bit of know-how. And then on the other side, I also have an online business where I then inspire and encourage other single moms to start their own businesses. So that's
Yes.
about
And
me.
and one thing she didn't mention is roofs, or not roofs, ceilings.
Yes.
And we saw her putting up a ceiling the other day, and watched her do that while we were on our coffee chat. And it's awe-inspiring, really, because I love making projects, but I don't know how to do. Well, there's a few things I could probably do by myself, but I'm a little, leery about some of those power tools and things. And so I just think it's cool, Rudi, too, that you do that. And so we're here to talk about not only her multiple passions, but to hopefully inspire you too. And those of you who are watching, and if you are interested in maybe learning about anything that we're talking about or sharing your side of the story when it comes to remerging, re-emerging as a spirit life warrior. So we're going to ask Rudi to tell us, think about it. And what does that mean to you personally? Like, uh, you know, to be a re-emerging spirit life warrior. So it sounds like it's happening again and maybe
Yeah.
more than once. And how can someone know when it's time to rise and reclaim that warrior spirit?
Yes. Um, exactly. Well, I think the first time we naturally have it is as children. We just have that go after everything, that awe-inspiring, follow the butterflies, try the cartwheel. Kids are just so fearless. But then
Yeah.
somewhere along the lines, as we grow up and we have to adult, and unfortunately, some of us go through trauma or brokenness, you kind of lose that. So to me, a re-emerging spirit life warrior is that coming back to life after the trauma
Mm,
or brokenness or burnout, even. Because those are
hmm.
some serious things that people go through and not always come out of it the best on the other side. So it's reclaiming your power, your peace, your voice after
Hmm.
all that. So that's what that means to me personally. And
Hmm.
how do we know when you're ready? I think when you have that full feeling to your core of enough is enough, there has to be something different.
Hmm.
Because we do know those people, we've all met them, the people that just kind of get stuck in that over and over again loop of, oh, woe is me, that victimhood. And some people stay in that forever. But a re-emerging spirit life warrior just goes, no, I've had it enough. I want to reclaim my power, my voice, my peace, and they're ready to do that. And they forge forward and
Mm.
take life
It's,
by the horns.
yeah, and it sounds like we come to a crossroads.
Yeah.
And I've shared a few graphics on this. You come to a crossroads in life, and you're either going to continue in that way, in that maybe feeling broken or like you're not sure what to do, or you go the other way. you know.
Yeah.
I say a lot of times we are either spinning our wheels or treading water, but in reality, you know, you are still moving forward one way or another. It's in the
Yeah.
in you're showing up the way you really want to and you feel led to, or you're just really allowing those circumstances to get the best of you. And
Mhm.
so I appreciate you sharing that. And I agree with you about the when you're children. And and I also feel like when you go as you get older and you go through different things in life and life throws you all kinds of things, I think sometimes we lose that voice for a
Mhm.
variety of different reasons, you know,
Mhm.
and divorce, getting fired, or you know, the death of someone. There's a lot of times I feel like when our voice and our light gets dim,
Yeah.
and for us to be able to reclaim that or reemerge. I like that word. Being
Yeah.
able to reemerge is really, really very cool. And those of you who might be watching us right now, let us know if you know what we're talking about, you know, where you come to a crossroads and you either need to reemerge or rebuild from something tough, and you did it. So,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
don't have to tell us
Celebrate
what it
that. That's
is.
no small feat.
Yeah. And you don't have to tell us what it is. Just put some sort of a warrior sign or a shield or something in the comments so that we can celebrate with you.
Yeah.
So, you said you're multi-passionate. Me too. I know how that is. And you've created multiple income streams as a single mom. You've had to
Mhm.
probably.
Yeah.
And while you're reemerging, while you're healing and dealing with some deep trauma. So, what would you say is one misconception that people have about what kind of success, but about what that kind of success really takes?
So it's twofold. One of it, first and foremost, it's not quick or easy.
Mm,
And a lot of the times the business stuff really does always come back to the mindset stuff. And the mindset stuff doesn't come quick or easy either. Um, you may have heard it said, especially if you're in the entrepreneurial space, that to really be a good entrepreneur, you always have to be working on your mindset and your self development because they go hand in hand. And I think some people like start a side hustle, we'll use that word, and they just think, oh, I'm going to start making all kinds of money overnight. And
hmm
then they're disappointed when it doesn't happen that way because did you put the mindset and the inner energetics into that new project? Did you treat that new project like an actual business, not just a hobby? And how much time did you really put into it? Because you get back out of it what you put into it. So if you're only dibbling and dabbling, it's going to be a long time before you see any kind of success from it. Whereas opposed to when you have that mindset and you dive all the way in, then you're going to see success quicker, but it's still not going to be that overnight success that we think or assume we see others having because people don't see the hard work and the elbow grease that went in behind it before they got to that point. So when I work with my clients, I like to remind them of that right off the hop and continuously throughout that it's not a quick flash in the pan overnight easy thing. You've got to be willing to work at it, which is where it's more that warrior stance comes out. Like you got to fight
Yes.
for it. Really what you want and you're passionate about it, you got to fight for it.
Yes. And I agree with you. I think that is the biggest misconception. I mean, I don't know what the statistics are,
Yeah.
but people in business for themselves And even in your career, but specifically in business for yourself, you underestimate how much work it's going to take
Yeah.
to do it. That is a big misconception. And because I would say for in my thingy majig, as an educator, that came so natural to me that
Yeah.
I just really excelled. It did well. I loved it. But
Mhm.
when I shifted into coaching, and I coached people all the time in
Yeah.
education,
Yeah.
but my clients came to me, you know. I
Yes.
didn't have
Yeah.
to go find them. So it's so much different when you don't have a captive audience. And so I can really understand that. And I would just encourage any of you that might be listening, what do you think? Is there a money or a mindset myth that you have heard or believe or are curious about when it comes to success? Whether it is success in your career, whether it's success as a single mom or success in a business, in the business realm, like Etsy. I started an Etsy shop in
Yeah.
2010. It took me 6 months to get my
Yeah.
first sale.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 months. And I was doing a lot of networking, and it was a $6 pair of earrings.
Yes.
And my husband's like, this ain't gonna cut it. But, I stuck with it, just like you said, knowing that it's going to take time. It takes time, and doesn't it take sometimes skills that you never thought you'd need?
Yeah. Which is where coming back to a lot of that emotional and self-development comes from because, you know, you opened your Etsy shop and it took 6 months to get a first sale. Well, you could have quit at month 5 and, let it ruin your self-esteem going like, I'm no good. I can't do this. My jewelry sucks.
Yeah,
And so many people stop right before they would have saw their breakthrough. So again, it's going back to that warrior spirit of being able to continue on and push through.
yeah, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about faith and business, because I know you're a woman of faith. And how has your relationship with God or your spiritual life helped you navigate being a multi-passionate entrepreneur and life warrior?
Well, that's always one of my funny stories that I actually do love to share is it does now, but it didn't. I used to be what I would refer to maybe as like a closet Christian. I always have had my faith, but I thought, oh, nobody wants to hear about that. Nobody wants to know. So I compartmentalized the two. When I was doing business, I was doing business. And when I was praising the Lord, I was praising the Lord. Never the two shall meet.
Hmm.
But my business never was taking off the way I would hoped. I was having to work extra hard, even though I do have a warrior spirit and I stayed with it and plugged with it. But doing it always felt like there's something missing. There's a puzzle piece that's just not here. And I love to tell this story, and I've told it to him to his face, even. Many people may know Ray Higdon. I kind of had followed him for years because I knew he knew his stuff business wise, but I was never a huge fan of him. And then about 2 years ago, one of his posts came across my feed on Facebook and it just lit me up. And I went, something's different about Ray. I'm connecting with him now. And then I found out about a week later that he'd found the Lord and come to the Lord. And he's making sure that that's front and center in his business. So I
Wow.
kind of had that revelation of like, wow, okay, if Ray can do it, so can I. And in a genuine way that's not shoving it in people's faces, because that was still important to me. I didn't want to be shoving my faith on people, but I didn't want to hide it anymore either.
Right.
So I started making tiny tweaks. Like at the end of all my emails, because I have an email list, and if you don't, you should, because everybody should have an email list. I just changed my from like business catalyst Rudi Cromwell to blessings Rudi Cromwell. Just little tweaks like that. The minute I stopped not hiding my faith, my business started to take off.
Mm, wow.
Just putting that out there. Same with Tanya when she made her shift in coffee club, like because I've been in coffee club since almost since it started. But it was maybe 6, 8 months ago she started doing a prayer before we actually dive into the topic.
Mm-hmm.
Topic could be anything, but it gave all of us a more sense of peace and just more openness once we started doing that. So
Yeah.
leaving things
Um,
kind of in his hands, but saying, I'm not going to hide you. I make it very clear where I stand on that issue, but I'm not shoving it in people's face, I think has helped double my business faster than I would have while I was still hiding it.
yeah. Well, and that is really beautiful to hear. And I like that you say, you don't have to be in your face with it, but just being comfortable with it, I think, um, it helps to
Yeah.
put that forward, to show up in a way and to be able to trust that he will put the people in your place, in your path for you to meet. And I know I'm in that same coffee chat with Rudi, and it just seems like when you start off with prayer, for those of us who are women of faith, it just feels good. And
Yeah.
so I appreciate that, Rudi, that you're willing to share that. And I think I agree that it's those simple things that say, I am inclusive. I
Yep.
do have friends that may or may not necessarily have a relationship with God.
Yep.
But I am there to just share when I can because you never
Yep.
know where it will take you. Um,
Exactly.
yeah. So, and those of you who are watching, or maybe you're catching the replay, what's one belief or maybe a scripture that anchors you when you feel heavy or uncertain? And it doesn't have to be a Bible verse necessarily. It could be a quote or something that really anchors you in some sort of a spiritual way. So if you feel comfortable with it, just share it in the comments with us. And so as we finish up here, I wanted to talk a little bit, Rudi, about your 10-day mindset reset. So,
Yeah.
and you've created that.
Yes.
Um, which day or exercise is your personal favorite in that 10-day mindset reset? Do you have a personal favorite in there? And why do you think why do you think that this is such a powerful next step for women right now who are in that phase where, you know what, I need to step up into my warrior stance?
Yep. So when you're going through the 10 days, that would be day number 3, the power of identity.
Ah,
That's when women realize that you're not broken, but you're becoming. Or
mm.
there is another favorite saying of mine, broken crayons still color.
Oh,
And that's
yes.
when you dive into that is on day 3, because it combines reflection. And I also dribble in both scriptures and affirmations because I like to be inclusive. So whichever one's going to resonate with you more, you can lean more towards the scripture that goes with that identity day or the affirmations. So it just helps the people going through the 10-day reset to reset their self-worth from shame to strength, because that's a really powerful thing.
Mm, definitely. And we'll put the link for that in the show notes and down in the comments here in the live video in this Facebook community. and for you to just you click on it, you give her your email address, and she will send that out to you. And you'll have to pay close attention to day number 3 because it sounds like that's a good one.
Yeah.
So we're going to have just a little bit of fun here. Okay. And
Okay.
those of you that are listening, feel free to chime in too in the chat or in the comments. What is a surprising or a funny lesson you've learned about yourself through this entrepreneurship or through this becoming this spirit life warrior, especially for you, either as a mom or what you do as a coach, or even in your handy what do you call it?
Yeah.
Yeah, handy woman. Even in your handy woman, or maybe even as a spiritual leader, what is some kind of something surprising or funny that you could share with us?
Uh, that duct tape fixes more than just broken things. I'm gonna go with my handy woman. It's like duct tape can do a lot of things. Duct tape can fix things. Duct tape can just bring us together. Duct
Yes.
can seal cracks, hold in water. I don't know if there was like a whole fad back about 15 years ago where people were literally making physical things out of duct tape, like wallets or suspenders. There's
Yes.
not much you can't do with duct tape. So it's just a metaphor for life sometimes that, like you may have some raw materials, but with a little grit and warrior spirit, there's not anything you can't do. So
Wow. Yeah, that is funny. And people, if we Googled, we'd probably be surprised what they make out of duct tape. It
duct
really
tape.
is funny because I remember that fad. Um, anyway, so as we get ready to say goodbye and sign off here, Rudi, tell them where they can connect with you. I know you have a Facebook group and you said
Yes,
you had an email list. So,
I do. If you join me in my Facebook group, which is called the Empower Collective, you can grab all my freebies. You can get connected to my email list that way, or you can follow me on YouTube. I do have a YouTube channel as well, and it is Reemerging Spirit.
Perfect, perfect. So yeah, when we get done here, Rudi, feel free to go in the comments and just add those links to those things. And I somewhere in this group, I do have a post for people to connect with us and get it for YouTube channels. But
Okay, great.
anyway,
I'll look for that.
yep. Okay, well, that sounds really good. And I just appreciate you taking the time, Rudi, because I know you are a very busy handy woman.
Well, thank
And
you for inviting me. I've enjoyed it.
yes, and thank you for inspiring us to become a spirit life warrior. Um, and if you've done it before and you're back into that in the trenches again, just
You can
know
do it
that
again.
you can do it again. You can do it again. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us, and we will see you next time.